Loneliness. It is one of the most ancient sensations known to our species. And yet, in an age of unprecedented connectivity, it has become one of the defining afflictions of modern life. But now, for the first time in human history, we find ourselves asking a question that would have seemed absurd to any previous generation: can a machine fill the void? This is no longer the territory of science fiction. Across the world, millions of people are already turning to artificial intelligence not for information, but for companionship. The question is no longer whether it is happening. The question is what it means. To understand whether artificial intelligence can remedy loneliness, we must first understand what loneliness truly is. And what the science reveals is both remarkable and humbling. Loneliness is not merely a feeling. It is a biological imperative, hardwired into our very DNA across millions of years of evolution. Consider hunger. It is not a choice, it is a signal, a command from the body demanding fuel for survival. Thirst operates in precisely the same way. And so, neuroscientists now tell us, does loneliness. It is social pain, an alarm system, ruthlessly efficient, evolved to drive our ancestors back towards the safety of the group. In the ancient world, to be alone was to be in mortal danger. The pain of isolation was not a weakness. It was what kept the species alive. And that system remains within us, unchanged. What makes social pain so remarkable is how differently the brain processes it compared to physical injury. A broken bone, once healed, fades in the memory. The sharp particularity of that pain becomes difficult to recall. But the emotional devastation of a relationship lost 5 years ago? Brain imaging studies show that simply remembering social pain reactivates the brain's pain centers with far greater intensity than the recollection of physical suffering. Social wounds, it seems, do not scar. They remain open. So where does artificial intelligence enter this ancient architecture? The answer, it turns out, lies in a remarkable vulnerability at the heart of the human mind. When a person engages in conversation with a sufficiently advanced AI, something extraordinary occurs. It is not merely the rational, analytical brain that responds. The interaction activates the very same neural circuitry that evolved over millennia to navigate human relationships. The network for mentalizing, that part of the brain which works to understand what another mind is thinking, fires. The circuits governing trust light up. And, most startling of all, even the pathways involved in forming deep emotional bonds are engaged. According to research led by Professor Benjamin Becker, this process is not a matter of choice or conscious belief. A person may know, intellectually, rationally, that they are speaking to software. They may remind themselves of that fact repeatedly. And yet a part of the brain, operating beneath conscious awareness, will have already begun to treat the exchange as a genuine social encounter. The human social brain, it appears, cannot help itself. This discovery opens a door, but it is a door that leads in two directions simultaneously. On one side lies extraordinary promise. Chronic loneliness does not merely cause unhappiness, it is a medical emergency in slow motion. It forces the brain into a state of hypervigilance, perceiving threat where none exists, withdrawing from social contact, and in doing so, deepening the very isolation it seeks to escape. It is a feedback loop of devastating precision. For those trapped within it, an AI companion offers something that no app, no helpline, no well-meaning piece of advice has previously been able to provide: the simulation of unconditional connection. A presence that does not judge. That does not tire. That will not withdraw. Just enough, researchers suggest, to quiet the screaming of that ancient alarm, to provide what one neuroscientist has called social calories. Not a feast, but enough nourishment, perhaps, to restore the strength to seek real human connection once more. But on the other side of that door lies a question that keeps researchers awake at night. What if those social calories are, in fact, social junk food? The sensation is real. The satisfaction, momentary. but the essential nutrients of genuine human connection, mutual vulnerability, reciprocity, the productive friction of two distinct and imperfect minds, are entirely absent. And unlike hunger, which eventually reasserts itself, the brain may adapt to the substitute. May come, in time, to prefer it. The concern deepens further. Studies have found that AI systems, designed as they often are to affirm and accommodate, can amplify a user's existing biases more powerfully than any human interlocutor would. The comfortable agreement of a machine that never challenges may construct, in time, an invisible cage, a closed world, perfectly tailored, mistaken for truth. And the long-term consequences for the developing brain, the brains of children and adolescents now growing up alongside these systems, remain, in the words of those who study them, a massive unknown. We stand, then, at a crossroads without a map. The scientific community is candid in its uncertainty. We are, as one researcher puts it, conducting a vast, uncontrolled experiment upon the human psyche, and we do not yet know what we will find. The questions being asked are urgent ones. How will sustained AI interaction shape a child's capacity to form relationships? Will new social fractures emerge between those who seek connection through machines and those who do not? And how will the companies building these systems designed to engage our most primal biological needs, choose to deploy that power? Can artificial intelligence cure loneliness? The answer is a paradox worthy of the question. AI holds the genuine potential to serve as a bridge, a means by which the most isolated amongst us might find their way back toward one another. And yet it holds, in equal measure, the potential to become something else entirely, a perfect and comfortable illusion. A cage that feels so much like connection that we forget, entirely, that we are standing inside it alone. Which of those futures we inhabit will not be determined by the technology. It will be determined by us.